This is One on One. We'd like to welcome Gil Jeffer, who is research engineer, NJIT, and also Dr. Robert Melville, research scientist, NJIT Center for Solar Terrestrial Research, which is, describe what that is, that center.
Well, we study space weather. I like to say in one word, we're studying the sun, in our case, by effect on the Earth. There are many aspects of that. Gil and I go to Antarctica, along with our third coworker, Andrew Stillinger, to design and implement engineering projects which generate data, which then go back to the research groups at this center.
Talk about the information that came back from Antarctica and why it's important for every American watching right now.
Basically, space weather has quite a bit of influence on our daily lives. Coronal mass ejections are when the sun puts off. Coronal mass ejections are when the sun puts off literally billions of tons of material heading towards the Earth at a very high speed. Sometimes they don't head towards the Earth, but when they do, they can couple with our magnetic field. And when that happens, it can cause a lot of influences to your daily life. For example, communications, extra radiation for people flying on aircraft, especially extra radiation for any spacecraft, where it may hurt their electronics. It induces current on long electrical lines.
But when you first started, the whole of this Antarctica initiative started, what was the goal?
Well, the beginning of the modern research in Antarctica can be dated back to 1957, the famous International Geophysical Year. That was really the beginning of really space weather research, studying the Earth's magnetic field. Do we have that graphic, maybe?
Can we show it?
Yeah.
They'll put it up there. They'll put it up there as you're talking about it. Go ahead.
Yeah. But the idea is the sun blows this solar wind.
Is that
at the
what it
Earth.
is right there?
Correct. That's it.
Talk it through.
Okay. This graphic is showing the sun blowing the ever-present solar wind. That is strong enough that magnetic field lines facing the sun, the so-called day side, are compressed. Magnetic field lines on the other side, the night side, are stretched several hundred times the radius of the Earth. They're storing energy. And when that thing snaps, as Gil said, it can dump a bunch of energy into the Earth. Roughly 50 times the output of the largest power dam that we have in the world.
Terawatt of energy dumped into the upper atmosphere.
What do we do with that information in terms of public policy? You come back with this extraordinary information. Policymakers say, we have to do something. What is it that we need to do?
Well, one of the things, if you look at the electrical grid, back in the late 80s, where there was that big outage in Quebec, since then, things have been changed a lot so that they're able to absorb this power, switch very quickly. The grids aren't tightly connected together where they can't switch between them, so you don't end up with cascading failures. Nowadays, perhaps they may blow out several transformers, may have localized brownouts or blackouts, but you will not take down whole sections of the country due to this research and finding out how things go.
So we're making smarter decisions, hopefully?
I think a deliverable of space weather research has been improved engineering of satellites. When the first
Say that again?
Improved engineering of satellites, engineering improvements to satellites. When the first satellites went up into orbit in the early 1960s, they did not work as well or as long as their designers thought because of a misunderstanding, underappreciation of the effect of space weather. Largely, that is a positive deliverable of space weather research to improve the engineering of satellites.
We're putting up some photos of life in Antarctica. Describe it.
That's the inside of one of our remote sites, the so-called automatic geophysical observatories, which is the bulk of the work that Gil and Andy Stillinger and I do when we go to the ice.
So the green box there is a telemetry system that Bob designed, and basically what that does is send up information for voltages, temperatures, currents from the instrumentation and the batteries and the power systems there up to the Iridium satellites, which then relays back down to us where we can monitor the stations remotely and see how they're going, since we don't go there every year.
Real quick, for people who don't understand, what are the conditions like out there? You said very low humidity, right? Temperature.
Well, you have to make a big distinction between summer and winter.
Go ahead.
Now,
give us both.
Gil and I typically, and Andy, go in the summer, which of course is our winter because seasons are reversed.
Yes.
We will have temperatures at the coastal base, maybe slightly above freezing. People walk around in shirt sleeves. At the South Pole, it's typically about 30 below zero.
30 below.
Yeah, but it's very dry.
The average year.
What does that mean? 30 below and dry. So
it doesn't feel as cold.
Really?
It's not
It
dry.
doesn't feel as cold. The average year-round temperature there, if you average the temperature around all the full year at the South Pole, is 57 below zero. In winter, in July, which is the coldest month, the high of the day would typically be 67 below.
67 below.
That's the high.
And all this information is so important for those of us who are not in Antarctica, but are here. We need that information.
We love it.
Good stuff. Bob and Gil, I want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. It's powerful information, and we appreciate the research you're doing.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Steve.
We'll be right
Appreciate it.
back
Thank you.
right after this. Wow.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Hackensack University Health Network, Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation, NJM, and by Partners for Health Foundation. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.